Imagine stepping onto a luxury cruise ship with a suitcase in one hand and a week of freedom in the other. A floating city, bright lights, soft music, endless food, calm seas. Now imagine that ship vanishing without warning. No mayday call, no distress flare, no wreckage, no lifeboats, just silence. For 3 years, families waited for answers that never came. Then, in a discovery that stunned the maritime world, the ship was found sitting on a remote coral reef, hundreds of miles from its original route. But what investigators found inside would haunt them forever. This is the true story of one of the most chilling and mysterious cruise ship disappearance cases ever recorded. In September 2019, the MS Aurora Pearl departed from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It was a mid-size cruise vessel, capable of carrying up to 847 passengers and 312 crew members. That week, the ship sailed with 623 passengers and 289 crew. The voyage was marketed as a 7-day Caribbean island hopping experience. The itinerary was familiar, predictable, safe. A stop in the Bahamas, then Jamaica, then Cozumel, Mexico, then back to Florida. On paper, there was nothing unusual about the journey, and during the first 48 hours, everything appeared normal. Passengers posted smiling photos from the pool deck. Couples recorded sunsets from balcony cabins. Crew members sent routine messages home. The ship's automated systems continued transmitting navigational data to maritime authorities exactly as expected. On day 2, the Aurora Pearl docked in Nassau. Passengers disembarked for shopping, sightseeing, and guided excursions. According to port records, everyone returned on time. At 6 p.m., the Aurora Pearl left Nassau as scheduled. That moment would become the last confirmed sighting of the vessel, with all souls on board. 24 hours later, the ship failed to arrive at its scheduled port in Jamaica. Cruise line officials attempted contact. There was no response. They tried again. Still nothing. The Aurora Pearl's GPS transponder had gone silent. The automated distress beacon showed no signs of activation. Within hours, the U.S. Coast Guard launched one of the largest search and rescue operations in Caribbean maritime history. Aircraft were deployed to scour thousands of square miles of ocean. Naval vessels combed the waters along the ship's projected route. International maritime authorities from multiple countries joined the search. For 2 weeks, the Caribbean became a grid of desperate hope. And yet, not a single trace was found. No debris, no floating luggage, no lifeboats, no oil slick, no bodies, nothing. The disappearance quickly became one of the most baffling cases of the modern era, because large cruise ships do not vanish easily. They are built with multiple safety systems, redundant communication tools, emergency protocols designed to prevent exactly this kind of scenario. For a ship of this size to disappear without sending even one distress signal seemed almost impossible. And as the search expanded, so did the questions. Families of the missing passengers organized their own efforts. Private investigators were hired. Substantial rewards were offered. The cruise line faced multiple lawsuits. As the investigation dragged on with no answers, financial pressure mounted. Eventually, the company filed for bankruptcy. The Aurora Pearl became more than a missing ship. It became an unsolved mystery at sea. Maritime experts proposed theory after theory. Some believed the ship encountered an unexpected storm, one violent enough to disable communications and overwhelm the vessel before anyone could send a mayday. Others suggested a rogue wave, a sudden mechanical failure, a fire below deck. But every theory ran into the same wall. Where was the evidence? Shipwrecks leave trails. Even in deep water, something floats, something washes up. And yet, in this case, the ocean gave nothing back. As months turned into years, the story of the Aurora Pearl began to take on a darker shape. Rumors of piracy surfaced. So did whispers of hijacking. Some suggested sabotage. Others believed the ship was deliberately taken. And slowly, the case was added to the growing list of real cruise ship disappearance cases that still have no closure. But what made this case even more chilling was a detail found in the passenger manifest. Several guests were last seen heading back to their cabins shortly before midnight. They were never seen again. Not on deck, not in the dining halls, not at breakfast. It echoed a terrifying pattern seen in other files. People who vanished from cruise cabins, cases where a passenger disappeared overnight on cruise ship, leaving behind untouched belongings, locked doors, and no clear explanation. In those cases, investigators usually search for one missing person. Here, the missing person count was over 900. The Aurora Pearl wasn't just an overnight cruise ship disappearance. It was a floating city that disappeared at sea. After 2 years, the official search was reduced. After 3, the case was considered cold. Families held memorials without bodies. Some refused to accept the ship was gone. Others simply lived in permanent uncertainty. Then, in March 2022, everything changed. A team of marine biologists were conducting coral reef research in a remote area of the Caribbean. Their mission had nothing to do with missing ships. They were surveying an unexplored reef system using underwater drones, approximately 400 miles southeast of Jamaica. The work was slow and technical, but during one of the drone sweeps, something appeared on the sonar. A large structure, too straight, too symmetrical, too artificial to be natural rock. The team sent down underwater cameras for a closer look, and what the camera revealed stunned them. The MS Aurora Pearl was sitting upright on a coral reef in about 180 feet of water. It appeared almost perfectly preserved. The ship showed no obvious signs of major structural damage, and most remarkably, it looked like it had settled gently onto the reef, rather than crashing into it. News of the discovery sent shockwaves through the maritime community. For families, it brought a surge of hope and fear in equal measure, because finding the ship meant one thing. The Aurora Pearl had not simply vanished. It had been somewhere this entire time. Investigators moved quickly. The exterior showed marine growth consistent with being underwater for years, but there was no catastrophic breach, no torn hull, no obvious explanation for rapid sinking. Most of the lifeboats were still secured in their davits. That detail alone raised immediate alarm, because if the ship had been sinking suddenly, lifeboats would likely have been deployed. But they weren't. When dive teams gained access to the interior, they encountered something that defied explanation. Personal belongings were scattered throughout cabins and public spaces, as if people had left quickly. Phones, jewelry, medications, suitcases unpacked, beds unmade. In the dining areas, place settings remained on tables, as if meals had been interrupted mid-bite. But there were no human remains. Not in the cabins, not in the hallways, not in the crew quarters. Not a single body was found anywhere on the vessel. Then came the most haunting discovery of all. The ship's emergency systems appeared to have been manually disabled. The main radio equipment had been deliberately shut down. Key navigation systems showed signs of intentional tampering, and the security cameras had been systematically destroyed. Every angle, every deck, every corridor, gone. This was no longer a simple shipwreck. This was now an unsolved cruise ship disappearance, with evidence of human interference. Investigators noted that the condition of the vessel suggested whatever happened occurred over time, not in a single catastrophic moment. Food in the kitchens had spoiled slowly, indicating the ship continued operating for several days after losing contact with authorities. Some cabins appeared recently occupied. It looked like people had been living aboard after the ship was already missing. The case transformed instantly. From a maritime accident to a suspected mass abduction, investigators began treating it as a potential mass kidnapping or worse. The remote location suggested whoever was responsible had deep knowledge of Caribbean waters and maritime navigation. The fact that the ship had been moved hundreds of miles from its planned route pointed to planning, coordination, and expertise. International agencies joined the investigation. The FBI, Interpol, maritime police from multiple countries. As the deeper investigation unfolded, the passenger manifest raised more disturbing questions. At least 12 individuals aboard had traveled under suspicious circumstances. Fake identities, stolen passports, tickets purchased using untraceable cash transactions. Background checks revealed links to international criminal organizations involved in trafficking and other illegal operations. Phone records showed unusual calls to several crew members in the days leading up to departure. Some crew members had made large cash deposits into their accounts weeks before the voyage. It suggested cooperation, or bribery, or threats. Cruise line records also revealed that the ship's security systems had been upgraded months before the final voyage, but the upgrades were performed by a contractor with questionable credentials. That contractor disappeared shortly after completing the work and could not be located. Even today, the investigation remains open. Families continue to hope their loved ones might still be alive somewhere, but with each passing month, the possibility grows smaller. The case has changed cruise ship security worldwide. New regulations now require multiple independent communication systems, tamper-proof emergency beacons, enhanced passenger verification, stronger onboard surveillance protection. But despite these improvements, the fate of the 912 people who vanished from the MS Aurora Pearl remains unknown. The discovery of the ship answered one question and created countless others. We now know what happened to the Aurora Pearl itself, but the disappearance of every single person aboard remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries at sea. It reminds us that even in our modern, connected world, hundreds of people can still vanish without a trace. The ocean holds secrets, and sometimes those secrets are more terrifying than we could ever imagine. If you're fascinated by stories like this true crime cruise ship disappearance investigations, missing passengers on cruise ships, and cases where people who vanished from cruise cabins leave behind nothing but silence, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think happened to the passengers and crew of the MS Aurora Pearl? Do you believe this was an elaborate criminal conspiracy? Or could there be an even darker explanation? Share your theories in the comments. And if there's another unsolved cruise ship disappearance you want me to cover next, tell me below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next documentary.